Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my first ever live Facebook Messenger. Not Messenger, my Facebook Live. So, my name is Dolores Andrew Gavin. I'm the owner of Irish Health Hour. I'm an author of 2 children's books dealing with emotional issues. I am an energy therapist. I am practicing in Reiki, emotional freedom technique, soul care, and I also do a lot of work with emotional intelligence with both children and adults. I also do a lot of work with essential oils. And today we're talking about emotions. Morning, Linda. Thanks for joining. Emotions and our emotional well-being. So, having worked as an energy therapist and emotional intelligence practitioner for a few years, you begin to see a pattern with people really, and a pattern that core emotional wounds can actually cause similar situations for us. Hi, Linda. But we can often see too that the story doesn't actually have to be the same. We may feel that we actually get triggered by emotions and we just don't really know what these core emotional wounds are. For example, if our power is threatened in some way, which could be different ways in each case, we might feel we get triggered. And if we look at what emotion is coming up for us in these times, it can really help us get to the bottom of what it is that is causing us to be triggered in this way. Emotions are energy. E for energy, motion, movement. So our emotions are energy and movement. So when we have stuck emotions, like let's say if we go into rage all the time when we feel threatened in any way or our power gets attacked that we perceive in any way, we may go into rage or anger. And this emotion has got something to tell us. When we do go into an emotion like anger, it's letting us know that our personal boundaries are not the way we need them to be. We may need to form better boundaries around ourselves so that we don't allow what people are saying to us it feels like an attack all the time. Because sometimes people may just say something to us that has nothing really to do with us personally, but because of limiting beliefs that we may have stored, our old story keeps getting brought up again, our power issues get brought up again, and this emotion that may be attached to this old story, like rage or anger, just comes up again. So, as I said, if it's something like anger, we need to look at our boundaries and learn ways to build our boundaries so that we don't feel threatened and that we don't let our power be taken away from us almost. Let's take an example of, we may see that somebody achieves something really great, and although we're delighted for them, we may just get this little nag in our heart, or we might get a feeling in our stomach and say, oh, I could have done that. Or we may even say, I should have done that. Or we may go into a poor me mode and say, oh, things like that never happened to me, all this success. But this story can be changed in us. We can just find that core emotional wound that is making us feel this way. And by doing this, we take back control of our own life. And we almost take back we actually do take back the driving seat of our own life, where we don't let our power, or we have our power intact and we are standing in a place of our own warrior power. So the tools that we can use for this, one of them, which is a fantastic therapy, is emotional freedom technique. So when we work with emotional freedom technique, we're working with our energy body. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. So we're working as ourselves as individuals. It's not a one therapy or a one session fits everyone. We all have different core emotional wounds. We all have different stories. So when we work with EFT, we're working on our individual story. What holds us back as an individual, not what holds maybe our siblings back. And we find this sometimes with siblings, even though we all grow up in the same, hi Juanita, even though we all grow up in the same family, we may have different stories as to how we perceived things when we were growing up. So with something like emotional freedom technique, we're working with our energy body. I always call it acupuncture without needles, because we're getting into our own meridians, we're causing an effect by tapping on our meridian points. Now, I had a lady that came to me recently and she was trying to give up cigarettes, and she told me she was a secret smoker. I said to her at one stage during the session, it's okay to smoke. And she looked at me, not expecting somebody like me to say that to her. But sometimes we actually have to own our story before we can actually make a decision to change it. So thank you, Brenda, once we can actually own it, once she could actually say, possibly, yeah, it's okay for me to smoke, but now I make a choice to give them up. For her, this worked. It's not the approach that everybody may need, but as individuals, each session is specific to the client. If we hide from our shadow parts, or if we hide from parts of ourselves that make us feel like we shouldn't do this and we shouldn't and we can't and we won't, these are all stories we're building up around ourselves. They're hiding. Yes, we can. We can do anything we want to do, whether that be good or bad, which kind of sounds a little strange, as I say again, to hear me say that. But once we own those, then we can decide, no, now I want not to do this again. And I choose not to do it again. I take my power back from the cigarette, from whatever pattern, from the anger, from the rage, whatever it is that we feel that's not letting us be our true self. I also work a lot with essential oils, as a lot of people know, and I work with the emotional side of them hugely, because they can have an effect on our emotional centre of our brain, the limbic brain. So let's say, for example, we may need to be more centred, more grounded before we can even make a decision, like something like giving up cigarettes or like dealing with our anger. We need to ground ourselves, really feel as though we're connected. So for this, then we would look with dealing with an oil or using an oil that grounds us. It has an effect on our central nervous system. A lot of people know lavender, and people use lavender because of the chemical components it's made up from. They have an effect on the central nervous system. So it does exactly what it says it should do. It calms because of these messenger molecules that are contained in it. So I love working with the essential oils for that reason. And that's one of the reasons why I have done this Facebook Live for the first time. I'm holding a free talk in Galway on the 18th of, hi Sharon, on the 18th of July at 7:30 in the evening, and it's an hour and a half, and we're talking emotional intelligence, we're talking basic emotional freedom technique, and we're talking essential oils. We're talking anything that can help us as individuals to actually, thank you Gay, give us what it is we need as an individual to help us deal with our emotional, whatever landscape we may find ourselves in, and to bring us back to a place of joy or whatever it is we feel we need. So I would say it's a free hour and a half, as a lot of my upcoming workshops will be free. So it's always advisable to book. So you can book by emailing me at doloresagavin@gmail.com. Good morning, Ruth. So if anyone has any questions after this, please feel free to contact me on the website, which is irishhealthhour.com. Thank you very much for everyone that joined this morning, and I look forward to talking to you all again soon.